Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
SoundCartel.
When the chips are down, what do? We work harder. When we want to grow the business, what do? We work harder. But is the potential impact on our health really worth it? From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Working hard is fine, but we also need to recognise that having regular breaks, real time away from the business, is not only beneficial for our health, but also good for the business. That's according to Andrew May, keynote speaker, podcaster, business coach and CEO of StriveStronger. For some, COVID has made it even more difficult to get away. So how does Andrew suggest we stay fresh and energised in the year ahead? He's talking to Chris Ashmore.
I call it the same game. It's where we wake up in the same house next to the same person. If you're married, that's recommended. You have the same breakfast. You take the same route to work. At the moment, we work from home in the same place. You order the same coffee from the same barista. You have the same conversations with the same people in the same 9 a.m. meetings. The same are early, the same are late, the same do work, the same don't. And I'm only at 9 a.m. Do you want me to stop? Because people go, oh, geez, you're talking about my day. Then we stick it in reverse and go home, put our car keys and phone in the same place, have the same conversation with the same people and go to bed. It's called Groundhog Day. And then we say to people, adapt, change. And I don't think we were training for change. And I think that's where COVID caught a lot, myself included, really on the back foot, because I used to talk about change, but then we weren't accelerating it enough, yeah? So doing little micro doses of change every day primes your brain that when bigger change comes, you can handle it better. So I've sort of gone a bit psychological on you as well, but if you look at the neural wiring of that or the neuroplasticity, if you don't train for change, it's not going to happen or you're not going to be able to adapt. And I think a lot of those business owners, Chris, that were standing there going, what happened? And then 3 months later, 6 months later, 9 months later, I want to go back to the old days. Now, these are the new days. We're not going back to the old days. So you've got to train for change. And I believe, and psychology shows, you will then handle that change better.
Recovery is important for those that perhaps want to move on. And you have some strategies for those in business to ensure that they stay fresh and energised.
Yeah, I really only entered the corporate world in my late 20s, early 30s. So I was very green to this world of corporates and people wearing clothes that weren't athletic clothes. First 15 years of my adult career was with sporting teams. So I worked in cricket, AFL, netball, basketball, a whole lot of sports, track and field. In sport, Chris, if you're on my roster, male, female team, mixed team, whatever the sport is, you have an off-season. And in a lot of contact sports, it's 3 months. So it's, okay, look, go away, spend time with your partner, your family, get fresh physically, psychologically, any operations, come back in off-season, bang, let's go again. And anyone listening to this who owns their own business will go, 3 months? Yeah, I haven't had a 3-month break since I finished university. So one of the things that I bought in when I first entered the corporate world, and I still stick by it now, is plan your year like we do with an athlete. Have a proper off-season for most, apart from essential services and media in Australia, that will be over the summer break. And then every 2 or 3 months, have a mini break, like a 3-day weekend, and try and get away from your house. It's been hard in COVID. But if you do have a staycation, turn off your mobile, put it in a cupboard, get off your technology and go somewhere local. So it's just that way of building in one, hey, we're going away to the South Coast in 3 weeks' time. It really gives you something to talk about and get excited about. But 2, recovery is twofold. One, it's physical. You relax the heart rate and all the stress hormones drop. The second one is psychological detachment. So you need both. You've got to drop the heart rate, drop the hormone levels, and decrease the psychological engagement. That's proper recovery, and you need to plan for it.
Well, very often when we go on holidays, Andrew, we can get sick for a couple of days or a week or so. Why is that, do you think, and how do we prevent ourselves from getting sick?
As you're asking that question, I'm laughing not at your question. I'm laughing at some of the responses I have, especially with some of my exec entrepreneur clients when they don't put these practices into place. They might go to a beautiful resort somewhere and they're working so hard before they go on holidays that they're tired and fatigued. So what we do before vacation is really important to then shift into vacation and not just fall in a heap. Secondly, not just what we do before vacation, but if you're redlining all year and the balance between your stress and recovery is loads of stress, no recovery, our bodies are really intelligent. And when we go on a break, it says, Chris, you have been going so hard doing this wonderful podcast, doing everything you're doing across your multiple mediums, but we want you to keep going. But you're working against a system. So we're going to produce these white blood cells and flood your system with them. You're going to feel shithouse for the next 2 weeks. But don't worry, when you go back to work, your boss and everyone else, they're going to see the best of you. Your family won't, but suck it up, big fella. 2 weeks' time. So that's what happens from a physiological point of view. We flood our body with white blood cells. I won't get into the big terms, but our body then goes, I need to have an enforced break. So if you step back from this, have lots of little mini breaks throughout the year. No one is too busy. I work with some CEOs in the top 20 ASX. Some of them have 40, 50,000 staff. They plan for recovery exactly like we do in the sporting world. If you run a business, if you are an important part of a business, you need to have regular breaks, full stop.
Mazars is an international audit, tax and advisory firm committed to helping clients confidently build and grow their businesses. To find out how Mazars can support your business, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.
Running a business is stressful enough, of course, but no doubt COVID has exacerbated that for many people. And I suppose to finish with, what are your top tips to reducing or eliminating stress?
I'm going to give you a different answer before I give you some of the tips. I don't think it's all bad. There's a term called post-traumatic growth, and post-traumatic growth is after trauma or severe stress. And let's be honest, for a lot of people, COVID was trauma. For me, when we lost 93% of revenue, my accountant said, you've got 2 weeks of cash flow left, do a massive digital transformation or give up. That's a critical moment. I wouldn't say that was a fun moment, but I'm really proud of what my team has done, and it's pulled us together. So we have what psychologists call post-traumatic growth. So if you break those words down, post-traumatic, it was trauma, but growth, we've learnt a lot from this. So I'm really careful in the narrative, especially in the work we're doing around small business owners. I'm very empathetic that some people haven't been able to change, so I don't want to gloss over that. The coffee cart with no traffic flow. But for a lot of other people, I just want to reposition. Hey, it's not all bad. Change is good. Change has accelerated a lot of us 5 years down the track. And post-traumatic growth means when you have time to process this, and hopefully that's starting to happen, a lot of businesses will never go back. A lot of businesses will accelerate from this. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I need to give you some tips around stress. So I think the recovery thing is definitely one. The other one is, do you have young kids or do you have kids?
I do, yep. 10-year-old.
Great age, great example. Boy or a girl?
Girl.
And look at your face light up. For those people, if we had a video cast, you've been engaging and then now your teeth have just got like everything's showing. Now, your young daughter at 10, it's a beautiful age. I've got 3 kids and kids play. Dad, I've got a play date. Can I watch Play School? She's a bit old for that now. Play doh, play time, play lunch. What do, Chris? We do Zoom meetings and email. That's it, because a lot of us are now working via laptops and remote. So there's no play, there's no fun, there's no joy. So I'll give you 3 things for that original question on resilience. Number 1, look at the growth you've had out of this post-traumatic growth. Number 2, build in some fun, laughter, play and joy. When we get too serious and we don't laugh and we don't bring some of that colour in, it does wear us down. Yeah. And the third one is make sure you've got a support network. And this is what you guys do a wonderful job with your program as well, because you have a whole lot of business people and you're giving them support. So, no man, no woman is an island. When you're asked how you're going, if you're not going well, don't go, yeah, fine, mate, fine, and gloss over it. Actually get okay with discomfort. So it is okay to not always be okay. And I know back in April and May when the business was struggling, my partner had my third child, our first one together, so a blended family. She's on maternity leave. I've got no revenue. It was looking grim. There's no keynote presentations. A few big programs we had just stopped. And when people said to me, how are you? If I went, yeah, she'll be right, mate. That's rubbish. That's delusional. So being able to talk to some of my friends and confidants that I'm struggling helped me massively. So those 3 things I'd summarise. Yeah. Post-traumatic growth, what have you learned from it? Have some fun, laughter, play and joy, even in the worst times, and get support. I think a balance of all those 3 will help us get through whatever the year throws us.
That was StriveStronger CEO and co-founder Andrew May. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.